I'd like to call to order the May 27th meeting of the Code Enforcement and Nuisance Board. A roll call.
Dearbone.
Here.
Gonzalez.
Here.
Harmon.
Here.
Holman.
Here.
Mukanovich.
Here.
All right, hopefully everyone's had a chance to see the minutes from the April 22nd meeting. I will entertain a motion to approve those minutes, if no changes.
Motion.
Second.
Gonzalez, Holman, roll call.
Dearbone.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Harmon.
Yes.
Holman.
Yes.
Mukanovich.
Yes.
All right, if the staff will stand, be sworn in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, thank you. All right, we will now go into our hearing agenda. Madam Clerk.
Agenda item 2025-24 is an appeal for code compliance. This is an appeal for case number 2025-0992, citation number 2025-1543.8 in the amount of $105.54 for the property located at 1103 East 13th Avenue. The owner and respondent is Kelly Thompson Jr., and Officer Sonia Duderick will present the case.
This case was a result of proactive inspection on 2/4/25. During that inspection, the following violations were observed: accumulation of storage or junk outdoors, including old toilet, accumulation of construction material, and accumulation of landscape debris. On November, an NOV was sent to PBA listed owner and address with a compliance inspection date of 12/14. On 2/14. On 2/21 and 2/27, I inspected the property and it remained in violation. On 2/27, a voicemail was left for the property manager, Bill Goodwin, requesting a callback. On 3/7, the property was inspected, remained in violation. A staff contacted Mr. Goodwin again. He stated he has already arranged someone to clean up the property and asked for an extension to Monday, 3/10 of 2025. On 3/10, the property inspected and remained in violation. A voicemail was left for Mr. Goodwin. On 3/19, staff contacted Mr. Goodwin and he stated he would take care of it, but has not been able to do it due to his health issues. On 3/26, the property was inspected, remained in violation. During the inspection, a contact was made with the tenant. She stated the junk and debris was present when she moved in, and she would be more than happy to help load it up on a trailer if they would bring one to the property. Staff contacted Mr. Goodwin with this information, and he stated they are cleaning up trash at another location, and it's using the trailer until sometimes the following week. Mr. Goodwin was informed the case had been open for extended period of time, and the city was attempting to avoid issuing fines and citation. Mr. Goodwin replied with write a citation and we'll talk to city attorney. On 4/23, the property was inspected, remained in violation. A citation was issued, posted on the property, as well as sent by first-class mail and certified mail. The compliance inspection date listed on the citation was 5/5/2025, which has been postponed due to filed appeal. You can see in the pictures, when the citation issued, there was all the junk, tree limbs, toilet, buckets. As of today, the case has been open for 112 days. The only cleanup was some buckets were cleaned up and a toilet's gone. Today, the staff noticed that the shed's a roof is also in disrepair. There's construction materials still on the side of the house.
If the respondent will come up, I'll swear you in.
Afternoon, ma'am.
Let me swear you in first. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Wasn't planning on testifying, but I'll tell the truth.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Okay. All right. Can you tell me, I looked on my violation, and it says International Property Maintenance Code. Has the city adopted the International Property Maintenance Code? And that's the entire code?
International Property Maintenance Code is incorporated by reference in Chapter 27 of City Ordinance, with a couple exceptions for dates, where dates are required, or the height of grass, where height of grass is required. Yes, sir.
I didn't understand you. I'm sorry, sir. You adopted the International Property Code in Chapter 27?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Now, where were you standing when you saw the picture in the backyard? You were on the street?
Yes. First time I did an inspection, I was on the street.
Let me show you a picture and ask you how you got the picture in the backyard from on the street. Can you see?
If
Can
you
see
go,
that little narrow spot in the back of the
if you go to my first picture, yeah, this is the first inspection picture right here.
And with that,
From the
Is
street.
that with a telephoto lens?
No, it's with an iPhone.
With an iPhone. I would like to introduce this as Exhibit 1. This is a picture from the street with my iPhone, slit between the two houses where she allegedly saw this stuff in the backyard. So you're testifying under oath that you were in the street when you took that picture. You took that picture there from in the street?
Yes, February 4th, 2025.
And how far from the street to there was it to that backyard?
I did not measure.
Is it 100 feet?
I did not measure.
Ma'am, you cannot see in that backyard from on the street. You have to walk up to the house and go to the backyard.
I did not. It's from the street.
So you weren't on Magnolia, you were on 13th Street.
Right.
Okay. And you were on the right side of the house rather than the left side of the house where there's another gate going to the backyard.
Correct.
All
Looking at the house, I was on the right side.
And what was the telephoto lens on your iPhone to see into the backyard that well?
I don't even know which iPhone we have.
Was it a regular picture on your iPhone?
It's a regular
Just the same
picture.
picture you take that's the same picture I took on a #1 setting. And can you explain why you have such a good focus on the backyard with a #1 setting on an iPhone?
Again, we must have different phones.
You have an iPhone?
I do have a
And-
city-issued iPhone.
All right, ma'am. Do you all ever go in backyards?
Once we have a case started and issue citations, yes, we do go in backyards.
You go into a backyard with permission of the owner?
Once we have a case started and a citation, we don't need a permission.
You don't?
We do not need a permission. But in this case, your tenant gave me a permission to go back
You
there
do
and
not
take a
need
picture.
permission to go on private property once you open a file. Is that what you're saying?
Once the case is open and the citation started, yes.
And under what authority in your code do you find that?
That'd be in Chapter 2 of City Ordinance.
What?
Chapter 2 of City Ordinance.
Would you read to me where it says you can go into somebody's backyard after you open a file?
If that is what is at issue here and not the pile of trash in the backyard, I can certainly pull that up here with just a couple moments. I believe a better use of our time would be to address the issues that are going on in the backyard, since we've established that the initial inspection was done from the public right-of-way, which is completely legal, and there still remains a large pile of rubbish and junk in the backyard. But I can certainly pull that up if you give me just a moment.
While you're doing that, Mr. Thompson, let's focus on that. So why is the stuff in the backyard as it is?
Focus on why stuff is in the backyard? What?
The house is still under construction,
Well,
the damage of the tornado. And we have been
Go to the
Dr. Goodwin,
microphone.
would you come to the podium, please? And then let them swear you in.
In. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? The truth. Okay, thank you, sir. Go ahead.
the house has been under construction.
Can you get right up on the microphone?
The house has been under construction at 1103, since the storm itself. And we've had issues from the sewer systems. We've had issues, that's the reason that toilet is in the back. It was too small for the people, so we put a larger one in. We've also been I was under health reasons. Well, I was having my problems. I had 38 straight treatments of radiation. And so I did good to get home, take a nap, go to sleep at 8 o'clock, and deliver the mail here to the city the next morning, every morning, never missed a day. But getting back to the house, it has been under total construction, and the people there were willing to help, and grant you, they do help me. But the thing is, we cannot finish the project, and right now until my health gets better, because you got to be there to supervise. The second thing and most important thing is you cannot see the backyard from the street.
Have those concerns been addressed when you spoke to her? Did you guys have that conversation about any of these?
That I would be totally written up 2 days before, or you went on to your vacation. Either I completed the job then, or I would be written up. I was in the hospital at the time she told me that, taking radiation treatments. That's the reason it was never done.
Did you tell her you were on radiation treatments?
Yes, I did.
But she said she had to go on vacation?
She's on vacation, and she's going to write it up before she left. And the people themselves tried to explain to her that I was taking the radiation treatments, and also they said she'd heard it before.
If you look through my case, when I spoke with you, it was 3/26 of 2025. I did not issue a citation until 4/23/2025.
Day did you go on vacation, though?
I was gone from beginning of April, so 3 weeks.
The date, though, that you left on vacation? Was it
It's
3/27? Were you gone
irrelevant.
this whole time, then you wrote it up as soon as you got back?
Yes, because there was a three weeks extension before I left.
I was still doing my treatments all the way through April. I've still been under doctor's care.
Okay, come on, we're not gonna argue.
Excuse me, I didn't catch his name.
That's Bill Goodwin.
Bill Goodwin. Mr. Goodwin,
Yes.
you mentioned a storm. When was the storm?
tornado.
When was that?
We've had the tornado, and then you also had the wind, 3 shear winds of capacity.
You emphasized the
The
storm. What,
last 2 years, that house has been damaged.
over 2 years?
Over 2 years, 3 times.
You don't know the date of the storm that you emphasized?
The day of the tornado, December the 12th,
Of which year?
Longer than that.
Longer than that?
Whenever the tornado.
3+ years?
oh, we had BGMU out on the sewer systems for over 2 years. We've had 3 different plumbers come into the house. We've had to redo the floor. We had to redo the ceilings because of the damage to the house. And we're still working on construction of the house.
3+ years. When did your treatment, and by the way, we hope it's successful, when did your treatment begin?
I've been operated on twice in the last 3 years. I've also I have stage 2 cancer right now. Until you realize it better come out clean. And I've done everything. I've prostate removed. I've had everything happen to me, and yet I've still worked on that house.
Has it been possible to have somebody else, while you're going through your treatments, to help you to make sure the project is done?
Tried, young man. Maybe 3 or 4 different people have worked on the house. Like I said, we've had 3 different plumbers that tore the house up, and I put it back together again every time. But this time, that is paint and the toilets and stuff like that are back there in the back, and the rubbish, I just haven't had time to get to it.
Well, would there be someone or somewhere you could store that stuff in the meantime? If it's paint and if it's the toilet, you're doing stuff somewhere you could, like a shed or somewhere you could put it to take it out of eyesight?
I took the toilet out because see from the street, I couldn't even see the backyard. And the people there have been very kind and very considerate, and I've taken the deduction from their rent because of the construction on the house.
Do you have an estimated time when it will be? I notice the appeal says it'll be in compliance by the inspection date. You have any idea of a date when it will be done?
Next Monday, it's my birthday month, please.
Yeah, 7 days.
I've still got doctors, set a date, and I'll be glad to move.
But,
But I got mad, I got mad at first.
but I can't. Do you swear under oath you can't see in that backyard from the
I
street?
can't see in the backyard.
I swear under oath, I can't see in that backyard from that street. That woman was not standing in the street unless she used a telephoto lens. That's all there is to it. It's just a matter of, I just went out there yesterday and looked again. I went, how can you see in that backyard? And,
Because of the bushes?
huh?
Because of the bushes, is that?
Bushes? No, the two houses are this far apart. You gotta look in between the two houses, then there's a gate, and the stuff she's looking at is over to the left where you can't see it from the street. It's blocked from the house. And, ma'am, did you send me pictures of what you were talking about?
I did.
You did? Those pictures? Huh. Okay. Well, anyway, I'd like to point out to the court KRS 530.130, which defines the right of privacy. But it comes down to a credibility finding, and you can't see in that backyard. I don't know what this lady's saying, but she wasn't standing in the street, or she was using a serious telephoto lens. Because I just stood there yesterday, and boom, couldn't see it. I don't know.
Well,
I
Mr.
was
Thompson,
actually in my vehicle when I took that picture.
You were in that vehicle, and look at that picture.
Mr. Thompson, are you disputing that the property is out of compliance? Or just how it sounds like more like how the picture was taken, or are you disputing that it's out of compliance?
No, I'm not arguing this. I'm arguing that anything in a backyard that is not visible from a public way where people have a right to be, you and I can be in a public way, staying in front of your house or your house or your house. But we cannot go into your yard, and we cannot go up to the back gate and look into your backyard unless it's visible to the naked eye from a public street along a horizontal plane. And that's what the legislature has cited as our right to privacy. And I'm telling you, you cannot see in that backyard. It's just not there. And I gave you a picture of it. So you all can make a finding as to whether you can see in that backyard. That camera sure could. And that's not what I saw when I went up there, but they did move the commode out.
Counsel, in terms of what we need to discuss, do we need to focus solely on the compliance issue, or do we need to look at any other issues?
At this stage, what we've cited for, you need to look to the compliance. Excuse me.
So let it be known that we're only focusing on the compliance issue.
Officer, so in the picture, there's a window of residence behind this one in question, right?
The window, yes, it's
So it'd be
behind.
visible to that person, right?
It would be, but I couldn't go in that
Right,
house.
I understand. But visible to the neighboring properties, right? Yeah.
That neighbor's house sure is blown up in that telephoto lens. I mean, you sure can't see the neighbor's house from the street like that. That is so blown up.
Mr. Thompson, as counsel has said, we are focusing on the compliance issue, which you don't seem to dispute, versus how the picture seems to come across. We are looking only at compliance. You don't dispute that it's out of compliance. So that's what we will end up ruling on. And any other thoughts or whatever can be taken to another body, but our body is only looking at compliance.
Okay.
So with that, I will make a motion to uphold the citation and fine in the amount of $105.54.
Second.
Earbone, Holman, roll call.
Earbone,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
No.
Harmon,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes.
Mukanovich.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk?
Agenda item 2025-25 is for code compliance. This is an appeal to case number 2025-2298, citation number 2025-3827.3 in the amount of $105.54 for the citation and $65 for a work order fee. The property is located at 603 East 11th Avenue. The owner is Nuisance Investments LLC, and the respondent is Justin Reese. Mr. Reese is in the audience this afternoon, and Officer Heather Lashley will present the case.
Good evening. This case was the result of a proactive inspection on March 31st, 2025. During the inspection, the following violation was observed: overgrown weeds and grasses. A courtesy letter was sent to the owner listed in our computer system on that date. On April 14th, 2025, the property was inspected and remained in violation. A notice of violation was sent to the owner and address listed in our computer system on that date with a compliance inspection date of April 21st, 2025. On April 22nd, 2025, the property was inspected and remained in violation. Prior to issuing a citation fine, the PVA website was checked, and it was discovered the property was purchased by the current owner in November of 2024. The updated owner contact information was changed in our system, and a new notice of violation was sent to the PVA listed owner and address on that date with a compliance inspection date of April 28, 2025. By this point, the property was already very overgrown and clearly unmaintained. On April 28, 2025, the property was inspected and remained in violation. A citation was issued and posted on the property. You'll see the citation there, as well as sent by first class and certified mail to the PVA listed owner and address. And you'll see photos that I took that afternoon that I issued the citation. A work order was submitted the same day for a city contractor to mow the lot. The set fee for mowing this size lot is $65, and a city contractor mowed the property. On May 2nd, 2025, our office received a call from Mr. Reese, who identified himself as a member of the group that owns the property. He stated he had just received the correspondence in the mail and hadn't had time to act. He was informed the property had been overgrown for some time, as it did not appear to have been mowed or maintained all spring. And again, keep in mind, they became the new owners of this property in November 2024. This case was open for 29 days. This morning, I went and checked on the property, and you'll see some of the photos that I took this morning, and the property is, again, overgrown. I took pictures from the 11th Avenue side and the Chestnut side of the property.
Justin Ortega. Justin Reese couldn't be here.
Okay, well, let me swear you in.
Yep.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, go right ahead.
So I'm limited on everything, but Justin kind of told me because he's been the one communicating. But we got the notice in the mail whenever we got it, but we had 2 days from when we got it, from when we started getting fined by the city. And the reason for that was, as she said, the notices were getting sent to the prior owner. So, I mean, we didn't know what notices we were getting and how out of compliance we were. Justin nor myself live over there. We don't go over there. We don't drive over there. You know, our plans for the property are to develop it. And this week, I mean, tomorrow we're signing off on our loan and we're building. Probably the next 7 days we're getting building permits. So we paid, I brought an invoice, we paid $15,000 to get the prior property demolished and gravel the way it is now, and things hauled away. And there was an issue, I guess the city had said something had to be sodded and seeded and everything, and that has nothing to do with us. That was the contractor that does all that. We paid them. We don't know what we have to do. They have to do all that. So the biggest thing for us was we didn't know. We got fined, and we got the notice and fine 2 days later. And within the 2 days, we called our mowing guys. We own a property across the street. They went across, mowed it, and I guess now it's been 2 weeks or so, and they're on a bi-weekly schedule. So they mow our property, and then they go across the street and mow it. But that property is getting ready to get torn up probably in 10 days or less. So, you know, I don't, we've been with planning and zoning and everything, and they've kind of drawn everything out with getting things worked on, but I just didn't think it was fair. We weren't getting the proper notices, and we were expected to pay a fine that we didn't really have advanced heads up on. So
When did you purchase the property?
last year, yeah.
And I know that when this notice was sent on April 22nd?
We didn't get this notice here till like May in the mail. And so from there, 2 days after that, we got it mowed, once we found out that we need to get it mowed.
Is there a reason you didn't mow it in March and April and?
Like I said, we don't drive down there. We don't know what's going on. I mean, I don't know what the property looked like, you know, prior to that. I know January, February, I mean, the grass doesn't grow, it's cold. So I know the spring is when things happen, and that's when we're on a bi-weekly mowing schedule now. So.
When did you have it mowed?
When's the last time we had it mowed? Let's say the 27th. I'd have to go back and check, but probably the second week of this month. Right when we got this notice, within 2 days we got it mowed. And when we get it mowed on a bi-weekly with the property that we own on the same street. But prior to that, we just didn't know. If we would have got a notice, say March or April, sent to us, we would have done this, but we got it late. You know, it was just on the prior owner, and the prior owner wasn't telling us that we were getting notices. So, you know.
You said it's on bi-weekly, so they're mowing this week?
Yes. Yep, they're mowing this week. I don't know what day of the week they go out there, but it's done this week. And the property is getting ready to get torn up probably in 7 days or less. So, I mean, we'll get it mowed this week, pay whatever, and then next week it'll be dirt.
If not, I'll make a motion to uphold the citation fine in the amount of $105.54 and the work order fee in the amount of $65. Second.
Harmon, Holman. Roll call.
Beerbone,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes.
Mukanovich.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk?
Agenda item 2025-26 is for code compliance. This is an appeal for citation case number 2024-5435, citation number 2024-8990.24 in the amount of $255.54 for the property located at 927 Payne Street. The owner is 13 Street Development LLC, and the owner is respondent is Kelly Thomas, and Officer McKenna Tabor will present the case.
This case was the result of a proactive inspection that was conducted on June 12th of 2024. During the initial inspection, the following violations were observed for cracked foundation walls on an accessory structure, a damaged roof on a commercial business, and parking in the yard. An NOV was sent to the PVA listed owner and address on that date with the compliance inspection date of 7/12/24. On 7/5/24, the property owner, Kelly Thomas, texted and advised there was a pending insurance claim on the roof due to storm damage, and the improperly parked vehicle had been moved. On 7/16/2024, the property was inspected and remained in violation. On that date, face-to-face contact was made with the tenants of the property. The tenant said they were told there was a pending insurance claim on file, but that it was a mess and Mr. Thomas was their landlord. They went on to say that the roof had been leaking for years prior to the storm damage. And those are the pictures from the initial inspection, I'm sorry. That was taken from the street on Browns Lock Road. You can see the tarp on the roof as well as the improperly parked vehicle. And there's the damaged roof, and I don't know if I have a picture of the front of that building, but there is a large crack that runs down the front of that side accessory structure. So on 7/16/2024, the property was inspected and remained in violation. That was the day that we made contact with the tenants of the property. They went on to say that the roof had been leaking for years prior to the storm damage. The tenants then willingly walked me around the business on the inside of it, showing me extensive water damage, damaged ceiling tiles, holes in the wall, and discussed concerns regarding mold, rats, and termites in the building, all of which they stated they told Mr. Thomas. So on July 17th, a new NOV was listed, and if you'll go back, there was a new NOV, and that's that new notice of violation that was sent, that listed all the additional violations, as well as the second picture, the black and white one, that is an inspection letter requesting an infestation, that they be treated for any kind of infestation that may be. So on that date, the 7/17, the new NOV was from the interior inspection, and just some pictures of what the inside of it looked like as the tenants were walking me around. That was their break room area. And there's the holes in the wall. And this picture's kind of hard to tell, but there's water damage to the top of that, as well as the deteriorating wood back in some of the shop areas. In this picture, the metal pole that runs up, they said it was a brace that they had to put in to keep the ceiling from buckling. They said that the ceiling kind of sagged right there, so the tenant said they installed that on their own to keep it up. And that was over back by there's a business office area when you first walk in the business, and they walked me back and showed me that was outside of the office. And that's the inside of the office. That sign is kind of being held up with a brace that they made to keep from the sign falling over. And the tarp is still on the roof. So on that date, after the 16th, on the 17th, the new NOV listed all the additional violations was sent to the PVA listed owner and address, and the violations on the new NOV included cracked foundation walls on the accessory structure, the damaged roof on the commercial business, broken boarded and missing windows, protective treatment, overhang extension due to the damaged business sign, structural members that are not maintained or structurally sound, interior surfaces that are not maintained in good sanitary condition due to the water damage, the mold-like substance throughout the building, holes in the walls, damaged and missing ceiling tiles, and makeshift braces supporting the ceiling in at least one room, deteriorated wood, a missing door on a breaker box, accumulation of construction debris for scrap wood, and infestation and just duty of maintenance of private property. On August 5th, August 9th, and August 22nd, and September 11, 2024, staff attempted contact with the property owner, conducted inspections on the outside of the property, and had no contact or notable progress toward compliance. On October 3rd, 2024, the property was inspected and remained in violation. Staff reached out to Mr. Thomas requesting updates, and he advised he was leaving town for a fall break and that he was still waiting on insurance. On October 15, 2024, contact was attempted with Mr. Thomas but was unsuccessful. And on October 18th, he furnished photos of some work that had been completed to the interior. On October 30th, 2024, contact was made with Mr. Thomas. He said they were waiting to see if the current ceiling roof situation was sufficient enough to keep from leaking so that he doesn't install new ceiling with panels that will leak behind it. On November 19th, the property was inspected and remained in violation. Contact was attempted with Mr. Thomas but was unsuccessful. On December 6, 2024, the property was inspected and remained in violation. Mr. Thomas said he was still working with insurance. Staff asked that he reached out to his insurance and provide an update from them to staff. On December 18th, December 23rd, December 31st, and January 7th of 2025, the property was inspected and remained in violation. Staff reached out to Mr. Thomas on all of these dates, and all attempts at contact were unsuccessful. On January 13th, 2025, Mr. Thomas reached out and said he had some people that were going to help him with the property and that the repairs should be done in a few days, and he said he would advise when the work was completed. On January 22nd and February 5th, 2025, the property was inspected and remained in violation, and contact attempts of Mr. Thomas on those dates were also unsuccessful. On February 21st, 2025, the property was inspected and remained in violation, but due to some inclement weather and snow that we had received during that time, the follow-up inspection was pushed out a couple of weeks. On March 14, 2025, the property was inspected and remained in violation. Contact was again attempted with Mr. Thomas, requesting that the insurance adjuster information so that staff could attempt contact directly with insurance for any updates regarding the roof. Staff explained the existing violations that could be rectified in the meantime and offered to forward the NOV again with all violations listed. It was further explained that this property has remained in violation for months with no notable progress and would be cited if no effort toward compliance had been made. Mr. Thomas responded but did not furnish any of the requested information. On March 28, 2025, the property was inspected and remained in violation. Mr. Thomas was given the same information and had the same information requested as the last conversation. However, there was no response from Mr. Thomas. On April 25, 2025, the property was inspected and remained in violation. Contact was made with the business directly, and the tenants advised that Mr. Thomas had not replaced the ceiling tiles or anything on the interior, but he was waiting for better weather to see if the tarp on the roof was holding water. And on April 29, 2025, staff reached out to Mr. Thomas to request an update. He did not provide any updates regarding this property. On May 7th, the property was inspected and remained in violation. On that date, when I came to do an inspection, I made face-to-face contact with the tenants who actually walked out of the business and just met me in the parking lot. And the tenant told me that Mr. Thomas told him not to let me in the building or on the property. So as a result, an interior inspection was not conducted. So all interior violations are assumed to remain. A citation was issued and posted on the property as well as sent by first-class and certified mail to the PVA listed owner. The inspection date listed on the citation was May 19, 2025, which has since been postponed due to the filed appeal. The following violations were listed on the citation issued that date. For the cracked foundation walls on the accessory structure, the roof on the business, broken board and missing windows, protective treatment, overhang extensions due to the damaged sign, structural members not maintained or structurally sound, interior surfaces not maintained in good condition, deteriorated wood, missing door on the breaker box, an accumulation of construction debris, infestation, and duty of maintenance of private property. And there's that citation that I posted on the door. As you can see on that date, there's a new tarp on the roof, but there's still a tarp on the roof, and that sign is still not in great shape. On the 7th, there's still the crack in the front of the building as well as the damaged roof. And all these were taken from the street, so I wasn't on the property anymore at this point. These were taken from Browns Lock, 10th and Payne in West Main. So again, same thing for today, just stayed on the streets to take pictures of it. There has been some things corrected on it, so the accessory structure on the side, the crack has been fixed in it. The roof has been fixed. The sign may be fixed a little bit better, but I still think it's just being held up there with a brace. And then the roof is still damaged. And as far as the interior, I can't attest to what's going on inside of it because I've not been able to go back in. But he has fixed that crack in the wall outside of that, but it's still boarded up and the roof's also been fixed.
The respondent?
Yeah.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And if you'll state your name and go ahead.
Kelly Thomas.
All right, go right ahead.
I was down there today and took a bunch of pictures of the interior, and I sent them to Brad. He should have all the interior repairs that's listed on the complaint. And I've brought pictures if you guys want to see them. I think these are mainly the same pictures he's got also. All right, let me get my folders here where they won't fall off. Okay, I'm gonna put these before couple pending insurance claims, mainly the roof. I've engaged with I've been working with CMS roofing company, and I've had two engineers from Scottsdale Insurance look at it, and I've got conflicting reports. And so now I've engaged a private adjuster to come on behalf of my side so we can present it to the insurance company. And that's the last step before any litigation will happen. So that's where I'm down to, I had 3 tarps on it, and now I'm down to 1. And it's just right over his main office is where it leaks when it rains hard. And that's why there's only 1 tarp on it right now. And hopefully this adjuster will get the insurance company's attention, because where we're at now is their initial report classified it as hail damage. Their second report indicated that several panels need to be replaced in certain areas, and the new adjusters brought up the Kentucky matching clause for roofs. So there's different ways that he's going to attack it, but it's our claim for that roof was $277,000. I just don't have $277 to fix the roof and wait for the insurance to pay me. So,
Mr. Thomas, do you want to go through the pictures as we go through them?
oh yeah. That's the new tarp. It's silver, the same color as the roof. I took the blue one off and at least put a silver one on. That's the area that she had that had a bunch of debris and wiring, and that the storm pulled off all the siding on that, so it's all been cleaned up and picked up. That's been repaired right there. That's a storage building for what he uses as storage. It's never had window. That's the crack that she kept calling it a foundation crack, but I couldn't understand it, so that's the only thing that we fixed right there. The sign has been braced. That's an insurance claim, but it has been braced up with 6 new braces across there. But I'm kind of fighting with them because the sign package that I gave them meets code, and it was about a $50,000 claim, whereas that one, the sign company won't replace it like that, the way that they claim it wouldn't meet code. So that's an insurance claim also, but at least we've got it fixed up. I just want to make sure that all the panels have the covers on them. Mike had taken those off. I don't know why. I don't know how she got that pole was hanging up. I asked the painter in there what that pole was for, and he said it was for him to put paint smatches on there. So I said, take the pole down and let me take a picture. So he took the pole down and took a picture. So I don't know really. That's just the area that was on the report, so I don't know. That's new framing on that door that was in her picture. Some of this, believe it or not, some of this is Mike's responsibility because it's a commercial lease, and the way it's set up is when he entered the lease, he's been there for almost 15 years. Yeah, almost 15 years. And he's responsible for the first $2,500 worth of damage. Or like say if that heat and air unit goes out, he's responsible for the first $2,500. So he primarily takes care of the inside for under $2,500. We got an agreement on the roof since there were leaks when he moved in. It's a 23,000 square foot building. It's all metal roof. It's leaked here and it's leaked there. And, over the years we've stopped them. But so that's the only thing that, and now since the straight line winds ripped off some of the metal and it's got an insurance claim, then I'm taking responsibility for the roof. He still piddles with it a little bit, but anyway, that's a wooden frame that technically he should have been responsible for, but I went ahead and fixed it. That was cited on the report. That was just a cover that he put back on. I don't even know why he had it off. So we put it back on. That's a different angle of that frame that we fixed, door frame. That's an angle of what she took, so I just want to make sure we had the same angle. That's the same siding that was cleaned up. There's some, those ceiling tiles in there along that one side where it ripped off all that signage is just 2 weeks ago, as a matter of fact, we sealed that. And we're waiting to see if it holds or not. And, you know, right now on the roof, I'm putting a lot of Band-Aids on it until we get this roof clean. I'm hoping to get a whole new roof off of it from the insurance company. But right now, I'm just having to put Band-Aids on it. So Mike, those tiles went up to $6.73 a piece, so Mike said he doesn't want to put them in because they don't even use that break room anymore. So, but everything with the exception of the roof has been repaired according to what she has listed in those pictures. So the only, like I said, the only pending thing that I would like to get out of it would be a new roof and something on that sign, but the sign's sufficient right now. It's not going anywhere.
Question from the board.
I just wonder, 346 days, you think that's reasonable to make a few repairs?
Well, like I said, I've been waiting on the insurance for a long time. Most of those little repairs I would have thought Mike would have done. I mean, like that little accessory building, I didn't even know really what she was talking about for a crack for a long time. I couldn't get it. It indicated foundation, and so I don't know, but it just, I don't know. Between me and Mike, I'd say you need to get this fixed, and it wouldn't happen, and then I'd send somebody down there to get it fixed, and it finally got fixed.
How far back do you have correspondence with your insurance regarding the roof? I'd just like to get a timeline of when this began and what's been exchanged between then and now.
The 4/2/23 was the date contacted. Let me see if I got anything. 10/24.
You have an acceptance of the claim?
Yes. I think this is the initial right there. That's the start, and then I've got 2 or 3 supplementals that I submitted myself. This one was dated, didn't even date it. I've got all the receipts. 3/5/23. So this is supplemental that I submitted on behalf of myself to get the ball rolling on some items. Been paid on some of these items, but others have been denied and are still in the pending phase.
So is your position you only make repairs if you're reimbursed by insurance and the rest of it just falls away?
No, I was, like the sign was an insurance repair. The siding that it all blew off was insurance repairs. Let me see, the roof was obviously insurance repairs. The other small stuff, like all the interior, it was fixed. But like I said, most of that was Mike's. Technically, it's really Mike's responsibility.
Seeing as how Mike hasn't been upholding his end of the bargain for stuff like this, I don't know that this really much matters, but are you going to have a conversation with him? Because it seems like he has basically let a lot of this stuff go, and now it's falling on your lap.
He does. He'll say, well, that was like that when I moved in, or something like that. So we just come to the conclusion, got it fixed. He's always trying to get out of doing anything.
You You gave us pictures in which you stated all the interior stuff is done. Would you let the inspectors back in to
I don't
inspect it
think
again?
Mike wants them back in. Mike is scared that she's trying to shut him down, is what he's telling me. I said, I don't want her any more than you do, Mike, and he said, I don't want her back in here. But that's why I brought the pictures.
No, earlier tonight, and the staff and somebody may have to remind me, because I may have forgotten some things I should have known, about right of privacy in residential structures, but this is a commercial structure.
So, like I said, Mike didn't have an objection to her coming in the front part of his where the main lobby is. I think where his problem was past the work door into his garage.
If I can say, the day that inspection was conducted, I walked in and just said I was here and asked if they knew anything about the roof because I had been trying to contact you and I hadn't heard from you. So I walked in and he was like, there's lots of problems, and he just willingly walked me around.
I'm getting a different story. I'm getting the story that they come in under false pretenses. That's what he's telling me.
Do you not know they were inspectors from the city?
He said he didn't know. I mean, apparently in our talks this morning, Brad was talking about, I think that y'all have actually had cars repaired down there, and he said, yeah, I'll go out and meet them, and stuff like that. So he's just telling me one thing and obviously telling them something else.
And can the general public enter at least the front part of the building?
Yeah, he doesn't have any problem at all with entering the front part of the building. But probably something to do to insurance, he doesn't let people back in the back half. I mean, I get to go back there all the time.
You mentioned that insurance resolved a lot of, I guess, the losses that you were claiming, and there's some that are pending. And as far as the roof goes, have they denied that, or is?
Well, like I said, they got conflicting reports. One, their first initial report wanted to blame everything on hail. And then so I engaged Jerron Jaggers at CMS, and he did his report, but then he requested a different engineer, a second engineer from that insurance company. And when they got a second engineering report, adjuster's report, it conflicted the first one, saying that there were several panels that needed to be replaced due to wind damage. It lifted a whole bunch of them up. And it's an old roof to begin with. I mean, it's a very old roof, probably in the 80s. And so that created conflicting reports right there. And so we submitted an insurance claim for the roof for $277,000. Well, they denied it. And so then that's when I got in touch with this Allen group, who's going to be my adjuster. He's a certified engineer, and he's going to be my adjuster, and he's going to put forth his claim. And that's the process we're right now. Because I've got enough, I think, that if litigation is warranted, that I could be covered. I mean, I definitely don't want to take that route because of the expense and time. And so, I mean, you know, like I said, this guy found the matching clause. Some of that metal, it's different metal on different parts of that roof. And I've even going to have to send off some to ITEL to even see if they even make that metal anymore. That's a part of it also. If they don't make the metal, then you got to replace the whole section. I mean, it's a pretty complex insurance claim.
Do you have any evidence of the $277,000 claim?
Yeah, let me see it.
Because I'm just not seeing it here.
Oh, okay. That's, hang on just a second. I do have that there. Well, I know I do. Just hang on just a second. Because I think, Brad, did we not have it in the file? I think I gave a copy of it to you guys. because I just showed it to somebody the other day. Oh, yeah, here it is. I've got other supplements, I don't know if you need to look at them also, other supplements that they've sent me based on my supplements and so forth, if you wanted to look at them as well.
Hopefully, without being too intrusive, what was the basis of their denial? Are they alleging maintenance issues versus something else?
Well, like I said, the first adjuster, I don't know if y'all remember those straight line winds that it blew literally 80 miles an hour from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. That's what, it lifted pretty much 90% of the roof up. Their first adjuster and it does have existing hail damage. I mean, the roof is since the 80s, you know, it's about 50 years old. And so it's got a lot of hail damage on it. So the first adjuster classified everything as hail damage, and they wanted to exclude it from me. Well, Dron came on board, and he showed them, the second adjuster, a bunch of wind damage, not hail, but wind, where it pulled up all the panels and so forth. And so the second adjuster, which I've got his two papers, I requested from the insurance company, and I thought it'd be here today, their actual reports, but this has verbiage in there telling what sections need to be replaced, what panels, because they labeled like A, B, C, D, E, and F, and so in there, on the second report, it said that panels should be replaced on this section, this section, this section. Well, that also clued in the statute for matching. That you know, just like you can't replace one side of your roof, Kentucky makes you replace both sides if there's a matching issue. So that's going to come into place also, if you want to look at this statute. Where his write-up is, where he's going to come to town to do his work on it. I'm in the process of getting the two engineering reports, because I think Dron has them, and I hadn't been able to get in touch with Dron, but I'm getting from the insurance company the direct report so I can submit it to this guy.
So there's not a misunderstanding.
They paid initial claim, and I submitted 2 supplemental claims, and they paid one of the supplemental claims, and then Duran submitted the 277 claim, and I believe that's the one that they denied, that part of it. But like I said, they paid me a portion that we haven't reached conclusion on the sign, because I submitted from Wacky Sign Company based on what's up to code. It was like a $49,000 bid. And because Wacky Sign Company said they would not put another sign on telephone posts. I mean, they just wouldn't do it. So, and the roof claim. Whenever that was, that 277,000 was submitted.
February 12th, 2024.
I've been trying to research. I've had several people look at it, but one guy that looked at it 2 months ago, I got turned on to him by somebody, but he actually works for the insurance company, so he had a conflict. So I finally found this guy, this Allen guy, this last guy, that I was told that before you go to litigation, you need to have a personal adjuster or a public adjuster to look at it, write a report, dispute it, and put another bid into it. And we're also going to be using the matching clause. The first one didn't have anything to do with the matching. It was just a straight whole roof. So I'm just listening to these people in terms of you got conflicting engineering reports, so you got a leg to stand on there. You got Kentucky statutes, you got a leg to stand on there. And if I can just get half the roof, but I'd like to get the front portion where the tarp is. I pay enough premiums, trust me.
I reviewed these and I'm not seeing any denial of it or processing of it by the insurance company. I do see the dates where you applied or you submitted.
I don't know if I
claims.
have a total.
I'm just trying to establish how much is out of your control here as far as the roof is concerned.
You say out of control, what do you mean?
As far as the insurance goes, and you pending the roof, fixing the roof, how much that is basically just you waiting on insurance. The bigger deal, I think, is all of the smaller damage that's happened because of that roof damage that's been accruing over time.
I mean, that's certainly going to be a supplemental. If we can get the roof paid for, then we'll come back with a supplemental and say, well, this was caused by the roof leaking.
Right, but I'm just not getting that the claim has been denied for the $277,000 here, or when that was processed by the insurance.
I don't know if that's in an email.
Because that's, I think, what would help a lot here for us to determine.
I tell you the truth, I'll be happy to supply that. I contact them and have them give me something in writing, because it's been so long, I honestly can't remember if I got it via email or just in telephone conversation. But I would think that they would put it in writing, but I would have to, actually this had two different, it started out with one adjuster and it got over her head, so I had to go to another adjuster. And then when I contacted the other adjuster just the other day, she's put it back into the original adjuster's hands. So that's where I just emailed her, I guess 2 weeks ago, requesting their initial reports, because I no longer have them. But I know what like I said, I'll be happy to get back. I don't recall seeing anything. Let me double check.
Brad, question for you. So if the roof at this point is kind of one of the bigger issues, and let's say it was denied, there's proof of it, so on and so forth, where would he theoretically go from this point with this? Would it just be something where until something is done, it just continues to be, a citation, or is there some, not workaround, but what does that look like moving forward?
Initially, I would remind the board that the appeal is for the citation itself. And so the board, and Mr. Broderick certainly can provide further recommendations to the board legally, but what is at issue right now is that the citation is appealed. So if the board believes that at the time the citation was issued, that the citation was proper, all of the violations in the citation were present at the time it was issued, and that proper procedure was followed in order to issue that citation, post it, mail it, that sort of thing, then the citation would be upheld. It would then turn back to staff. Staff can continue to work with the property owner. However, I don't really have a good answer as far as a timeline, because if we say, well, we'll give them 60 days or 90 days or 120 days, there has to be some sort of milepost to where we say, listen, your tenants are being rained on, and this is not structurally safe, and something needs to be done. But I also understand the property owner's position that he doesn't have that amount of money in order to make those immediate repairs. So there is, some complication there as far as what is the best course of action to take from this point. But at issue tonight is the citation itself, that Mr. Thomas has appealed the citation, and that my recommendation would be the board determines whether or not the citation was issued properly and should be upheld or not.
Conversation by the board? Okay. If not, I will make a motion to uphold the citation and fine in the amount of $255.54.
I'll second.
Dearbone, Harmon. Roll call.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes.
Mukanovic.
Yes.
So the citation and fine are upheld, but please continue to try to work with staff to see if we can't get this resolved. Thank you, sir.
Need to get all my stuff back.
Their exhibit. Right to appeal to district court.
I don't know, 30 days?
Yes, sir.
Can I bring all this stuff back if I decide to appeal? I'll get the denial letter from the insurance agents also.
Last exhibit you gave us was a denial letter dated March of '23.
That was for the hail damage portion of it. So as we stand right now, because I got a little confused on the next case that we got coming, so is this case still technically open? Okay, so it's open until,
Board has ordered that the citation that was issued as well as the fine are upheld as written. So, again, you can appeal that to district court within 30 days of receipt of the finding of fact. The case, though, has not disappeared or closed. All of the
I know
violations
that,
still need to be brought into compliance.
we won't have resolve to be able to close the case
You have to
until
continue to work with the officer
roof is fixed?
until all code violations are repaired, until the property is in code compliance.
Based on all the pictures that I've provided and all the information, what is still existing is what I need to know.
Are you or the tenant willing to allow for the inspector to go back through the building and
talk to my tenant.
inspect? Okay. So I don't know that I can answer that question, because yes, many of the pictures that were provided do substantiate that those repairs were made, but if we haven't inspected the building, we can't say firsthand that, it is in code compliance. So it certainly appears that most of the repairs have been made. The roof, of course, is the largest issue at play, and again, I understand your position that that we are kind of a rock and a hard place here, but at the same time, we can't close a case when there's a hole in the roof, right?
I understand
So-
that, but I just want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to alleviate continuing being fined.
I certainly hope you are.
With the small stuff, with the exception of truly what the insurance company is
Sure.
holding me back.
Right.
So I just want to be in compliant on everything. the
And again,
small
I
stuff.
can't answer that completely without us doing the inspection of the same issues that were in violation at the first time, because all we've been able to do now is the exterior inspection.
Rights too.
Absolutely. But the tenant's the one that invited us in the first place.
What he's telling me.
Okay.
We got conflicting reports like we just discussed this morning, we can sit there
Right.
all day long and you say this, I say this, so. I wasn't there,
Okay. Neither was I.
I know, so that's where, that's the reason we agree that,
Right.
we agreed to do that, so. Okay.
Okay. Agenda item 2025-27 is for code compliance. This is an appeal to case number 2024-0513 for citation number 2024-0993.46. This is a per-day fine citation appeal for the property located at 1118 Fair Street. Owner is Vulcan Investments LLC. The respondent is Kelly Thomas, and Officer McKenna Tabor will present the case.
This case was the result of proactive inspection on January 29th of 2024. During the initial inspection, the following violations were observed for roof damage, tires, and accumulation of construction material. An NOV was sent to the PVA listed owner and address on that date with the compliance inspection date of February 13, 2024. On February 14, 2024, the property was inspected and remained in violation. An attempt at contact was made with the property owner, Kelly Thomas. A voicemail was left requesting he contact our office regarding the property. On February 20th, the property was inspected and remained in violation, and the rear of the property was able to be observed during this time due to an inspection that was taking place at an adjacent property. On February 23rd and February 28th, the property was inspected and remained in violation. On March 6, 2024, the property was inspected and remained in violation. Contact was made with Mr. Thomas, and he was advised of the condition of the property, including concerns that there were homeless subjects on site, or possibly homeless subjects on site. Mr. Thomas said he would go and look at the property on that date. On March 15, 2024, the property was inspected and remained in violation with no notable progress toward compliance. On March 20, 2024, the property was inspected and remained in violation. Contact was made with Mr. Thomas, and we discussed the condition of the property again. Mr. Thomas said he would come by and remove the tires, and he stated he had hired somebody to come remove the furniture from behind the house, but requested an extension for this to take place after March 25, 2024. On March 27, 2024, the property was inspected and remained in violation. Contact was made with Mr. Thomas, and he was asked to have the property in total compliance for all exterior violations by close of business day, April 1, 2024, as there had been no apparent progress or effort made. On April 2, 2024, the property was inspected and remained in violation. A citation was issued and posted on the property, as well as sent by first class and certified mail to the PVA listed owner. The inspection date listed on the citation was April 12, 2024, and the following violations were added: for broken boarded missing windows, protective treatment for damaged and missing siding, indoor furniture at an outdoor location, accumulation of landscaping debris, scattered garbage, accumulated tires that were stored outdoors. On April 15th, the property was inspected and remained in violation, and no contact had been made by Mr. Thomas to our office during this time. The initial citation was still on the front door, and it appeared there had been additional items that were accumulated to the rear of the property. On April 16, 2024, the property was inspected and remained in violation. A second citation was written and posted on the property. Shortly after, Mr. Thomas came to our office and requested to appeal the first citation issued on April 2nd, and he was informed that the time period for the appeal had lapsed. Mr. Thomas had had an extensive conversation with Mr. Shagaratsky about this case, and an agreement was made that since the citation issued this date had been written but not yet mailed, that Mr. Thomas would be afforded 24 more hours to clean the exterior property, and the citation issuance would be postponed. Mr. Thomas explained his intent to demolish the house and said he had applied for a demolition permit. He was provided resources to bring the property into compliance, and it was reiterated to him that he had until the next date to have all the exterior violations taken care of, or he would receive the citation. On April 17th, Mr. Thomas communicated with our office and said he had reached out to a contractor to complete the work. Contact was made with the contractor, who was not aware of the extent of the violations, and the contractor did not think he'd be able to have all the work done that was necessary by this date, but felt confident that he could have it done by the next morning on April 18th. So we agreed to extend the timeline for compliance, given that there was a contractor that had said he would do the work. And all nuisance violations would need to be removed or remedied due to the extension. On April 18, 2024, the property was inspected and the nuisance violations had been abated. Since Mr. Thomas had applied for a demolition permit, a decision was made to keep the case open and just monitor the property until the permit had been approved and demolition took place. On May 2nd, May 16th, and May 20th, the property was inspected and remained free of any nuisance violations, and the demolition permit was still in the application status, so it hadn't been approved yet. On May 29th, the permit status was approved again and appeared to be delayed in approval through the Occupational Licensing Office. Contact was made with Mr. Thomas requesting that he contact Occupational Licensing to see what the reason was for delay. On June 6, 2024, status of the permit was approved. Mr. Thomas was contacted by staff to provide a timeline for moving forward with demolition. And he advised he was busy with a homeless encampment at another property, and he was unsure of when he could get to this property. On July 2nd, 2024, the permit had been approved and had been on file for over 30 days with no work toward demolition, nor had there been any kind of plans relayed to our office. Follow-up contact was made with Mr. Thomas, and he advised he had not received the demolition permit. It was explained that he would have to go and get it from the building division and to just get in contact with the building division for any further questions. On July 17th, Mr. Thomas was contacted, and he advised there was an administrative issue he would have to resolve prior to receiving the permit. On August the 9th, 2024, he forwarded a photo of the copy of the demolition permit in hand. Follow-up to the property was made, and it was noted that the property had been in the same condition as it had previously been. On August 22nd, 2024, contact was attempted with Mr. Thomas again regarding the property, as there had been no communication from him. On August 23rd, 2024, Mr. Thomas responded to staff's previous message stating that he's already told us that he has the permit. It was then explained to him that he had exceeded the time frame for demolition, and he stated nobody had advised him of a time frame. Then he was given the city ordinance reference regarding the demolition permits. And on August 28, 2024, the property was inspected and remained in violation, and no communication had been received from Mr. Thomas, nor had there been any progress made. While on site, there was an open and secured window that was at the rear of the property. Contact was made with Mr. Thomas advising him of this and requesting that he come and secure the property. A citation was issued and posted on the property, as well as sent by first class and certified mail to the PVA listed owner with the compliance date of September 9, 2024. And on that citation, the following violations were added for a dangerous building time period: vacant structures and land, duty of maintenance of private property, and duty of maintenance of streets, sidewalks, drainage areas, and public ways. An appeal was filed for the third citation, and the property was inspected and brought before the board at the September 2024 hearing. The citations and fines were upheld. On October 15th, the property was inspected and remained in violation. However, it was noted that the roof had been replaced at this point. On November 5th, the property was inspected and remained in violation, and contact was attempted with the property owner, but there was no response. On November 11th, the property was inspected and remained in violation. However, there had been some progress made, and we made contact with Mr. Thomas, who said he was getting estimates for new siding. On December 6th, the property was inspected and remained in violation. Contact was made with Mr. Thomas, who said the siding had been ordered and they were waiting for it to come in. On January 7, 2025, the property was inspected and remained in violation. And on February 7, 2025, the property was inspected and remained in violation, and contact was attempted with Mr. Thomas to request an update, but no response was received. On March 14, 2025, the property was inspected and remained in violation. No contact had been received from Mr. Thomas, and staff reached out to him again, and he advised that he had had no luck finding matching siding. On March 28th, the property was inspected and remained in violation. Mr. Thomas was then advised that progress would need to be shown on the property as soon as possible to avoid further citation, as the property had been in violation with no progress for several months. On April 1st, 2025, and while conducting other inspections in the area, staff noted that there were broken windows on the property. A total property inspection was conducted where it was noted that multiple windows were broken, gutters had fallen off the house, in addition to siding falling completely off the house, rendering it vulnerable to the elements. Staff reached out to Mr. Thomas to explain these findings and voice concerns of trespassing, and he advised he would follow up on the property the following day. On April 2nd, Mr. Thomas contacted staff stating he had observed the areas of the missing damaged siding and he would make the repairs as soon as the weather was better. On April 22nd, this case was brought before the board to request authorization to issue a per-day fine citation at the May 2025 hearing, and the request was approved. On May 2nd, 2025, Mr. Thomas contacted our office advising he had received the notice that per-day fines had been authorized and that all violations had been corrected. On May 6, 2025, the property was inspected and remained in violation. The per-day fine citation was issued and posted on the property, as well as mailed by first class and certified mail to the PVA listed owner and address. The per-day fine citation was appealed on May the 9th, 2025. And that's the pictures of the property of the day that citation was posted. So the glass in the door was still boarded up back behind it. As you can see, the missing paint. There's the plywood that was put up from the siding that had fallen off, as well as those boarded up windows. And there were several areas at the house where the siding was falling off of it like that. And this picture's kind of hard to tell, but that window's broken, the glass is broken out in that top pane of the window up there. There has been some progress made. On May 9th and May 14th, Mr. Thomas reached out to staff asking what needed to be done to bring the property into compliance. Staff had explained that all the violations are listed on the citation, all the citations he had received, and no further follow-up inspections would be conducted due to the filed appeal. And as of today, the property remains in violation. It remains vacant, and there's still at least one boarded or broken window. It has been painted, and there has been some improvement since the per day fine was issued. But for the part of the house where the siding had fallen off of it, you could see directly into the house. So now there's plywood that's been affixed to the exterior of the house and painted over instead of appropriate protective treatment, which you can see here, which it does look better. But I don't think long-term that plywood is a good replacement for the protective treatment. This case has been open for 484 days, and these pictures are kind of hard to tell, but that window is still broken from the last pictures that I had on there. And this one was wide open today. I don't know if you want to go over there and check it out, but that one was wide open.
It's my air conditioning window.
Okay. I didn't go in there and check it, but I just noticed the window was open when I was there today.
Yes, we have been texting quite a bit, because on this house, I pulled a demolition permit because Mr. Gonzalez's lot next door came up for sale, and he was offered it to me. And I was going to planning and zoning to see what I could do if I joined both lots together, because the house needs a lot of repairs. Well, in that meantime, I didn't get back with him, and he sold the property. So that's when I went ahead and put a new roof on it, thinking that I was going to keep it. And I still have the demolition permit. It's still good per the city until July of this year. But when I get over there to get this house, I'm going to gut it, and I'm going to put new windows in it. I'm going to put vinyl siding on it, because the backside has got a siding that they don't make anymore. It's 18 inches wide, and they just don't make it anymore. So I couldn't find it. I told the young lady that the contractor I had over there said he would get some, but then when he went to get it, they don't make it anymore. So we found some similar to it and put it up there, but it's got asbestos on all the way around it, and that's what I'm going to cover up with vinyl siding. I'm going to put new windows in it, put vinyl siding in it. So I was requesting in all these texts, what specific parts do you want me to fix? So, because I don't really want to spend a lot of money, because I'm going to cover it up. And so we texted back and forth, and she would say, this side, she'd send me a picture of this siding, and then I would fix that one spot. And so we went back and forth for quite a while, and then finally, she sent me, I wanted to meet her over there. When she got me on $100 a day, she said it'd be a week. And so I started scraping it, and it looked, and she never said anything about painting it, but it looked so bad scraped that I went ahead and had the whole thing painted. All the windows have been put back in. The front door is got a curtain up, but it's still got a board, because in that area of town, if they find an empty house, they'll break the windows to get in. I mean, they will, if it's sitting empty. And so I've got one window that's around to the side where the air conditioner goes. If you leave air conditioner in it, they'll steal it all day long. So I've secured that window by 57 screws so it does not move, and put a board behind it and put a curtain up. So all it looks like is just a curtain window, but it's actually got a board behind it. That's so they can't get in there. And there is one piece of glass, but it's on the inside that's broken, and we've taken a piece of plexiglass and put over the top of it. So it still shows from the outside that it's cracked, but the window is secured that it won't move. And I'm having a hard time doing all this little stuff because I know I'm going to put new windows in it. I know I'm going to put vinyl siding on it. And it just seemed, you know, unreasonable to put all that work into it just to put vinyl siding on it. But I don't have a time frame. I can't sit here and tell you that I'll be over there next week. But that's my intentions on that house, is to wrap it in vinyl siding, put new windows in it. I've already gutted the kitchen. Cabinets are down at my warehouse on Payne Street. But so as of today, I fixed everything that I felt like, except for, and I'm really not sure what she's asking right now to make it in compliance. I painted the whole house. We scraped and painted the whole house, put all the new windows, put window panes. So window panes had literally just fallen out. So we put those back in. And I just didn't want to spend a lot of time and effort scraping and painting those windows when I know I'm going to put vinyl windows in. It may be a month. I've got 2 other apartments I'm working on right now. There are easier fixes than this. As soon as I get those done, I'll wrap back around and get that done. But I was just having a hard time putting a lot of time and effort into something I knew I was going to fix with replacement windows and vinyl siding that's going to cover up all that. And I was going to have to put wood up there anyway. I mean, if I took the siding, there was no plywood behind that siding. So if I took that siding off, I was going to have to put wood up there anyway. So that's why I did that. I can leave the old siding up there to put new siding up there, but down at the bottom where she said I put plywood and I just painted it, I was going to have to do that before I put new vinyl siding on anyway.
So you said that you had the demolition permit and you still have it good till...
I checked with the city office right now. Tim Butts inspected it on January the 2nd, and that authorized it till July of this current year.
So with that being said, and all of the things you still seemingly have to do, and the fact that, you know, we could vote to put $100 a day fine on this, why keep the house? Why not just demolish it and cut your losses?
Well, I've already spent money to paint it and get it up to code right now. I just want, if I can get it to where it's satisfactory to y'all and I can wait and come back and do all my work on it, that's all I'm asking.
I mean, I guess I meant initially before you started putting some of the more money into it. Why?
Like I said, I was going to purchase that lot from Mr. Gonzalez right next door and combine them and build a fourplex, is what my intentions was.
After that didn't...
Well, the lot sold.
Yeah, didn't, okay.
I mean, the guy, I think, did the guy next door that's remodeling that other house, did he buy the lot?
No, someone else bought that.
Okay.
However, this has been open for 484 days, which is a significant time before we ever discussed that.
You know, it started with the homeless people behind there and the couches and all that good stuff. And then we got it till, I guess, last fall, and I got slapped with a $1,000 fine. I thought it was over. I didn't do anything to the house because I thought it was over. And then nobody reached back out to me until this spring.
That's not true, because I reached out to you multiple times asking updates about the siding from probably late fall till
I don't recall.
February. I mean, I have it in my text messages. It was all in writing.
All I have.
Officer Tabor, is it out of compliance today?
It's significantly better than it has been, and I appreciate that he's painted it, and it was in the citation about the paint on there. I have the citation here. And it needs to have a better protective treatment on there, and I'm willing to work with you on getting the siding, because I know you said you haven't had anything to match, but it needs new siding up if that's what you're gonna do, and then the new windows for sure. But I'm willing to work with you. I just need communication from you, and I've had trouble getting any kind of communication.
I mean, I feel like we've communicated by text. They're time stamped every time I fixed, every time you told me, you sent me pictures of stuff that needed fixed. I fixed it. Is that not correct? I fixed what you sent me pictures of.
But I've also told you that all the violations are listed in the citation, and I have them right here. So if you can read the citation and see all the problems that are listed on it, and you know if they've not been repaired, then it's not in compliance.
Well, these is kind of ambiguous. The property has not been maintained in a clean, safe, and secure manner. I mean, that could be literally anything. I mean, you got me in a trap here. It could go on forever.
I think,
I mean, I get it when it says broken window, pane, or it says there are multiple windows that have damaged seals and not maintained in good repair. That's why I was trying to get you over there to show me exactly what you're talking
At
about.
the point that you had asked to meet, you'd already filed the appeal, so there wasn't any further inspections until after the hearing. But you fixed them, so now the seals around the windows had all been rotted, and I think they've been fixed now. But up
I just
until,
put something temporarily, so when I get over there, because I don't want to put replacement windows in there without putting.
right, and I'm not asking you to do that, but I do need it maintained in good repair while it's still there. And none of this stuff had taken place until after the citation had been issued, this last citation. So it was just, I hadn't had any cooperation or, any kind of communication.
I mean, I certainly felt like that. I know that we were communicating, texting, and like, you send me that picture right there, and I'd send you that picture back, showing that I fixed that area. And then, once again, the following week, you'd say it's still out of compliance, and send me a new picture. And I was trying to do the least I can to get it approved. So it just didn't make sense to me to put a lot of money into something I was gonna wrap around and put new windows in and put new vinyl siding on.
well, it also seems by the fact you said admittedly yourself, you've done the least amount possible. That's why this case has been open for 484 days, because of, from what she said, lack of communication, lack of doing more than what needs to be done in order to get this property in compliance, at least from
I mean,
what I'm
like I said,
getting.
it started out with my intention of tearing it down, so you certainly don't want to fix it to tear it down. And then like, that plan fell through, and then like I said, it just compounded. And I thought we were communicating on trying to get the things fixed. I was just trying to do the least possible to get it approved through her, because I knew I was going to do a total remodel. I'm going to go in and gut the house, rewire it, replumb it, everything. And I'd like to do that at one time, as opposed to, trying to put vinyl siding and windows on it right now. I'd like to do one construction loan on it.
Other question? If not, I will make a motion to uphold the citation and the $100 per day fine to continue to run for 60 days or until in compliance.
Second.
Dearbone, Holman, roll call.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes.
Mukanovich.
Yes.
Mr. Broderick, question as far as procedure with this goes, because we don't have per-day fines appealed very often. Has the clock retroactively been ticking on this basically? So does the $100 a day pick back up today, and there was a gap in between, or is everything back from when the original citation? I believe it's the latter, where everything since the original
Post the
citation.
original citation. Now, if he files an appeal, and he has a right within 30 days of this decision to file an appeal, that does not suspend the fine at this point. He can file what's called a supersedious bond. That is, he can put a bond up for us not to collect the money. But that's something he'll have to take up with the judge. Classically, and I'm not going to tell you what Judge X, Y, or Z will do. Classically, the supersedious bond is equal to the fine. Sometimes they make you do it a time and a half, the fine, because it's going to run for a longer period of time. So that's his right, though he can do it that way.
Just for billing and for his information, I just need to know, are we starting back at the day it was issued, and it's been $100 since then up to today, and then
Up till
continues?
today, and it continues throughout.
The 60 days, or until in compliance? Okay.
Madam Clerk?
Agenda item 2025-28 is for Public Works. This is case number 2025-0457 with an appeal to the citation number 2025-0760.2 with a fine in the amount of $2,000 for the property located at 635 Woodford Avenue, also known as 1120 Garfield Street. The owner is TTT LLC. The respondent is Rom Romeo, and Officer Dara Price will present the case.
This case was the result of a routine inspection conducted on 12/21/24. During the inspection, the following violations were observed: improper construction entrance, and improper parking area for employees to prevent mud track out on the roadway. The roadway had mud that needed to be cleared due to motorist safety hazards. Best management practices, methods used to prevent or reduce the discharge of pollutants, especially sediment from construction sites, needed to be installed for silt runoff prevention. Examples of this would be rock checks, silt fence, straw wattles, and sandbags, etc. There was silt running into the stormwater drain. This drain needs to be protected, and the drain will need to be cleaned out. There were piles of construction debris and trash that needed to be cleared, as well as the containment system installed for the job site. Piles of nails, saw blades, and bores with nails sticking out were randomly scattered around the job site and made the site dangerous to navigate for inspections. Construction, storage, debris, and parked vehicles were in the stormwater ditch, blocking the flow of water to the drain. There was illicitly discharged drywall, putty, and grout washout on the ground, along with other unidentified miscellaneous material. There is to be a designated washout area intended for this on job sites. There were open trenches that were waist deep, posing a safety hazard without properly placing safety measures around them. Concrete was dumped on the roadway and left to harden. This is nearly impossible to remove from blacktop, which is city property. This will involve cutting out that portion of the roadway and repairing it according to the city standards. How do I change this? Just hit the next button. Okay. After 5 failed inspections on 12/1/24, 1/2/25, 1/7/25, 1/16/25, and 1/17/25, a notice of violation was issued on 1/21/25 with a compliance inspection date of 1/31/25. It was posted on the property as well as sent by first class and certified mail and email to the PVA listed owner and address. The certified mail was returned undeliverable. On 1/22/25, City Fire Code Inspector Steve Coleman reported that there was burning on site without a permit. This was a reoccurring issue at the location, which ultimately resulted in 2 fines from the fire marshal. On 1/31/25, the property was inspected and remained in violation. On 2/3/25, the property was inspected and remained in violation. A citation was issued and posted on the property as well as sent by first class and certified mail and emailed to the property owner. The compliance inspection date on the citation was 2/14/25. On 2/18/25, the property was inspected and remained in violation. An email was sent to the property owner with photos of the violations to detail the items that needed to be addressed. Additional inspections and on-site meetings were conducted on 2/26/25, 3/13, 3/24, 4/17, 4/23, 4/28, and the property remained in violation. The owner asked for more time, provided excuses as to why the property was not in compliance, and additional violations would occur as soon as others were corrected. City staff were as lenient as possible to help achieve the compliance goals. On 5/8/25, the property was inspected and remained in violation. A citation was issued that day, and on 5/9/25 was posted on the property and sent by first class and certified mail and emailed to the property owner. The compliance inspection listed on the citation was 5/15/25, which has since been postponed due to the filed appeal. As of 5/27/25, the case has been open 157 days, and the property remains in violation. So here is an inspection from 12/31/24. The driveway, the first photo on the top left, the driveway is being accessed, and it's in the neighbor's yard. As far as I knew, this was not approved. You can see the front ditch is blocked from building materials and debris, as well as trash, blocking stormwater flow. There was mud in the roadway. The entrance was not a proper construction entrance. In fact, at this moment in time, there was not a construction entrance at all. And there was no BMPs installed to protect the stormwater going into a drain that is there. They also had their contractors parking in the roadway along this alleyway, and some people was having issues getting down through there, and they also had a bunch of extension cords laying across the roadway, which didn't seem very safe. On this date, I wanted to take another photo of just a closer up photo of the drain. He had a pile of sand close to this drain. It was going directly into the drain with no protection around it at all. Some of the materials was sticking out in the roadway. There was mud in the roadway. It just formed a hazard for anyone that drove through there. There was quite a bit of just trash, debris, construction materials scattered around the whole site. On this day, he was still continuing to access the neighbor's property. I spoke with the lady that was living there, the renter that was living there. She didn't seem very happy about it, but didn't want to continue talking much about that. I did let him know on site there that day that that was an issue. We was still having issues with the drain in the front being blocked, and there was still, I think at this point, there was no proper construction entrance still at this point. So there is photos of that. We're still at this time having issues with him blocking the drain in the front, and then a lot of people continue to keep parking in the roadway. This was told to him many times, and he would act as though he was going to remedy the situation. It never happened for a good while. There was a lot of grout that was just being slung and dumped onto the ground and into the ditch on the right side of the property, as well as trash. There was burn piles and things that just simply isn't allowed. Here's another inspection photo where he still had not installed any BMPs to protect the drain, the stormwater drain. There was sand running right into it. I had instructed him that he would have to clean that out. At this date, he still had not done that. We was still having issues with trash blowing around the site, random construction debris with nails sticking out and things like that all around the site, so you had to really watch where you walked on the site. I believe this is the day that I posted the NOV on the property. As you can see, that's not a very safe way to enter the building, but a lot of construction debris is still around, and the white stuff that you see around the building is just random grout and discharge that we do not approve of him just disposing of on the ground. Here was the photos that I was asked to go out there and take for the fire marshal, for Steve Coleman. He had requested that I go out there and take photos since I was in the area, and he had received a call. They had applied for a burn permit, and he had denied the burn permit. So they were issued 2 different fines for this property for that. Here is another day where I went out there, and they still had not installed the proper construction entrance. There's a lot of debris everywhere. They still have construction materials and trash in the drainage ditch, and they were still parking in the front as well of the property. Here is some more photos just showing that there's just random nails sticking up and laying around. It wasn't a very safe site. The grading was not correct. It was graded towards the building, towards the foundation, which is not appropriate. I know that he was in the middle of construction, but I felt like he would say that he would fix things, and sometimes he would, but then we would backtrack. So here's some more photos showing that There was some concrete dumped on the roadway next to his job site. This was not there in your prior photos. When I asked him about it, he said, well, my contractors probably did that, but I'll fix it. Don't worry about it. Then later, he said that he wasn't responsible for it. And then just still having issues trying to get him to clear out the front ditch and put in some BMPs to protect the stormwater from getting into the roadway and also block that area from people parking there. Since it's such a narrow road, we did not want anyone blocking that. Here's an on-site meeting with him, me serving him his first citation. We had a long conversation in detail about all of the expectations that needed to be met. Inspector Journey Nixon was with me, and he seemed to completely understand everything that I was saying. So I thought that maybe we would make significant progress. This was the result after that. There was still construction materials in the way, still tracks where they were parking in the front. He still had not added any rock to the construction entrance. We have a standard drawing that he's supposed to follow. He's supposed to put fabric down, put the right size rock there so you don't track mud into the roadway. Continuously had issues with mud in the roadway, and all of that debris, all of that mud, all of that sand was washed right down into our storm drain. There was also some trees that were trimmed and a brush pile placed in that ditch at the property line in the back to prevent water flow as well. The conditions still, they would change very slowly. As you would go, he would attempt to fix things. So he did install some silt fence. It wasn't installed appropriately, so you can see that he installed the silt fence at the bottom left photo, but he installed it right next to a sand pile. And where someone had drove over the sand pile, they pushed the sand pile over onto the silt fence, and it failed immediately, which in turn was blocking the drain that we were trying to protect. As you can see, there's a lot of debris, a lot of trash still in this area, a lot of things still blocking the ditch. Here is quite a bit of mud in the roadway again, still not the appropriate BMPs that I had asked him to install. As far as we told him he could use silt fence. We told him that straw wattles were acceptable, sandbags are acceptable. He did fix the silt fence at this time to stand it back up. It still wasn't properly installed, but it was standing on this date. And then he had added some straw wattles in the back of the property there. On the bottom, you can see those straw wattles there. They're supposed to help filter the water from the sediment getting into the ditch. But you can still see on the bottom left, they still have people parking in the ditch line and partially in the roadway. We have mud issues still, things of that nature. Now we have brick going up on this date, and there was quite a bit. I mean, you can't even see the dirt in some of the photos where he had thrown so much grout. His contractors or him, I don't know, had thrown grout all over the place where you couldn't even see the dirt. This is considered illicit discharge. There's still scattered miscellaneous construction debris everywhere. They're still parking in the ditch. There's still no protective measures there to try to prevent them from parking there. They're supposed to use their construction entrance, and they're like on the property out of the roadway to try to access their job site. Here was just some more photos of where they're still accessing the neighbor's drive. This was definitely not on their property. As far as I knew, they still did not have any permission to access this area, but they continuously tore up the yard and things with their equipment. I instructed them that they should repair that so they wouldn't have any kind of issues with the neighbor. We still have people parking in the ditch, and then they even moved the porta potty in the ditch now. So that was told to him multiple times to just clear it out, and we was just having so many issues with getting him to comply with that. In the top left corner, you can see he tried to add some silt wattle around that drain. He didn't effectively do it the way that I had asked, but he told me that someone else had moved it. He did install some straw wattles along the top part of the ditch, but he did not put protection there for people to not park there, so they're still not driving in the ditch whenever it's muddy to track it out onto the roadway. So he did try to make some compliance on this day. We still was seeing a lot of things that I had asked him to clean up. Some of the grout, some of the miscellaneous debris that was around that was dangerous. The boards had nails sticking out and things like that. It just makes it unsafe. He did somewhat clean up the neighbor's driveway because I had said something to him about it on this date anyway. Here was just an updated inspection. The fence, the silt fence at the bottom is having trouble holding up because they're still accessing the drive. And whenever you don't install a construction entrance properly, and you have mud and sand that is withholding the weight of the machinery and the vehicles that are driving on it, it pushes it out. So it was pushing the silt fence over. So I continuously kept telling him, you need to add more rock, you need to install construction entrance correctly. Here was another inspection after we had a pretty good storm. He had some contractors come and they left another big, huge pile of trash. I had told him several times he needed to get a dumpster out there. He reassured me that he was going to. I didn't on this day see that. He then called my supervisor, Chad Doty, and said that he would start storing it in the garage. He was told as long as it's contained in there properly, that should be okay. As far as I know, that never got done. This drain, I told him he needed to clean it out because it had so much debris piled up against it. He had installed some sandbags, but the silt fence is still falling down. I had come back and he had made some corrections where nobody was parked in the ditch at this time. Let me see when they issued the NOV. I think this was after. So they did add some rock on this date to the drive. It wasn't a lot, but it was some. It still was tracking mud out into the roadway. He did fix the straw wattles according to what we spoke about. Still was having the silt fence standing up because it wasn't installed appropriately. There was still quite a few logs and things in the front yard, but I explained to him that I understood as long as they were removed within a reasonable time. Construction does take a while sometimes to get rid of those types of things. I was more worried about protecting our stormwater and getting all of, the mud off of the roadway and things like people parking where they needed to, things like that. So let's see. This was one of the last inspections that I had done. After coming the last time, these straw wattles had been ran over quite a bit. They were kind of mushed down and not really functional at this time. The silt fence was trying to fall over into the ditch, blocking the drain again. They were using the drive still, which I was happy about, but it still wasn't installed correctly. Then we found that there was a whole bunch of tree limbs just stacked in the front ditch here. After they finally got it cleared, they added all of this. I wasn't really sure where the limbs came from. He couldn't tell me where they came from. And then there was quite a few boards, if you look closely, on the top of the home that's just kind of hanging there and ready to fall, which was kind of hazardous for people that was walking around the property. Here's some closer up photos of where the silt fence is failing, and just some more debris that's just randomly scattered about. He buries a lot of trash on this property and others, but so that's what a couple of the photos is trying to show you, that, you know, it gets scattered and then he'll have topsoil brought in and it'll get dumped over and just covered instead of removed like we've asked. This was when, after the stop work order was issued on the property. This was I think my final inspection on this property. Yes. This was my final inspection on this property. As you can see, there's more trash added, more construction debris. There's still a couple of spots where paint and illicit discharge was cleaned out in areas on the dirt in the back that shouldn't be. And then still nails present, saw blades present, boards with nails sticking out. We had a random bucket sitting there full of unknown contents, and it was kind of a dangerous way to even access the front door. And here's some more photos from that day. Just some more debris, some more trash that would eventually blow away or get into our storm drains, things like that. And then here is also another photo of the concrete that is in the roadway that he still hasn't replaced. So this was when the citation was issued for that day. He had a stop work order posted on his door by our city geologist, and all of the doors were open. They were accessible to just anyone. Those boards that I said in the previous photos was still present as they are today. He has, as far as I know, there has not been any more work done since these photos were taken, and the grade is still not correct, and it seems as if the boards are intended to be buried again, which frequently happens on this job site so far. And there's still debris just randomly scattered about. Here is the drain. The straw wattles are still mashed, so they need to be maintained. They need to be, fluffed up, replaced, installed correctly again if the water overpowers them. The silt fence needs to be fixed. And there's also the white stuff below the drain is like dense grade gravel, which is too small of gravel to help the filtration of that. And some of it has washed into that drain now as well. So, and then here was the property this morning. It's just, there's really not been anything done other than what looks like just some gravel delivered, and they still haven't blocked off the area for parking. But this is just the state that it's still in. The drain still is not protected like we really would like for it to be. It looks like somebody did try to prop up the silt fence, but I mean, if we get a big rain, that's just gonna fall right back down. And then the concrete is on the blacktop is still there. And this is all of the tree limbs and debris that was piled up in the ditch, blocking the water from getting from the neighboring ditch to his ditch. It pools in their yard.
I had a couple of questions real quick, and really not y'all's issue and forte, but I assume building inspectors are inspecting this construction. Is it passing inspections? You said there is a stop work order on it right now.
Yes.
Is anything we're seeing now will prevent any type of certificate of occupancy being, even if they clean up all this stuff, is it still going to be subject to being approved by building inspectors at the end, or they messed up the drainage so much now?
I can't speak on the building inspectors and what they look for, but I do know that the stop work order was issued by our city geologist for other reasons. Any other questions?
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Sir,
All right, and your name again?
Romeo.
All right, and if you'll tell us your side.
All right, well, I'm not gonna disagree with, her. I just started I was trying to take over his project, but a lot of it I've seen so far, he hasn't been honest with me. But my goal is to take over the project and fix the problem, like I'm doing right now on 14th Street. But again, I didn't know all about this. All I know is about the drainage and the straw. And I figured, you know what, that's an easy fix. I can fix it. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing I can say. I mean, the proof is there. I can't argue against her, other than explain to him how this came out.
So the person that you said, so the person you took over this from didn't basically left you in the dark with most of what's going on?
He told me some of it, but not from the beginning. I was kind of warned about it, but not like that. But my goal is, like I said, is taking over this project for the investor. It's like I did to 14. I'm fixing the issue now. And I know I can do the same thing to that. But again, I guess he ain't being honest with me, and I feel like, you know what, maybe I'm not gonna step in and take the project from him, so.
Okay, so what is your relation to the property owner?
We're like friends, but not like,
Okay, but, so you would just be taking it over as a contractor?
I'm taking over the whole investor. But he's the,
As in property management and everything?
no, just managing the contractor and come up with a better plan to get it done right. Because what I'm seeing him so far, he's just like, you know, I mean, there's so many projects going around, but there's no plan. There's no group meeting, stuff like that.
Chairman, do you mind if I ask a question? Your first name is Romeo? Romeo, who wrote this appeal?
That appeal, I didn't write that appeal. I mean, they sent
who
it to
wrote
me.
it?
No idea. Probably Ty, no
Okay.
idea.
So was Ty not able to be here tonight?
He's overseas. That's why I'm here.
He's overseas.
Yes, that's why I'm
Okay.
here.
So all of his projects that are in the city that we have multiple job sites that are going on, are you taking all of those over?
No, so far I know it's just two, Bakers and Woodford.
Okay, so Ty, who's out of the country, wrote this and submitted, and then had you show up on his
Asked me to
behalf?
come in here.
And
The reason why he asked me to come in here because I'm taking over two project already.
two that are being heard tonight, Baker Spring and Garfield, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so do you have any idea who we are supposed to contact for all of the rest of his properties that are in violation that we're dealing with?
That, he haven't discussed that with me.
And you have contact with him, though, that you can provide with us later today so that we can?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Let me follow up on that. What's your connection to TTT LLC?
Well, that's Ty. That's who I'm trying to take over the project from. And I don't know who's the TTLC is. It's probably an LLC. I mean, probably his, but there's probably a different LLC. But all I know, again, I'm just trying to take over those two projects.
But you're not an owner, you're not one of the owners?
I'm not the owner of that, yeah.
So, and that maybe is either a question for Brad or for council. Who exactly would be responsible for this then? If he's not technically, if he's taking it over, but Ty is the person that is,
Property.
okay.
Ultimately, he can be a representative for the owner at the owner's request,
Okay.
but, I mean, he would not be the one penalized, it would be the owner
Yeah, okay, I just wanted to make sure that I was clear that it wasn't.
To our knowledge, and Journey, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's 12 LLCs that Mr. Wynn has that we're currently aware of? Okay, so it's up to a dozen ish LLCs that he has. So what we found on a few of them through contractors licensing, which I think will come to light in the next one, where there's some stop work orders, is that Mr. Wynn was applying for a building permit under one LLC, getting denied for various reasons, for EPSC requirements or contractors licensing requirements, and then putting it under another LLC, kind of playing a shell game to move things around to temporarily get permits approved so that there could kind of be piecemeal construction going on. And as to your question earlier, there are ongoing building permit inspections, but every time that they're failed, then those things have to be corrected before they can move on to the next step. So once the footing fails, you can't start building the next phase of the walls until the footing is corrected. Once the walls are built, then you can't move on to the electrical. And so, you know, there's a kind of a step-by-step process, and until each one of those steps passes, the next step is theoretically not supposed to happen. Now, that's not always the case, as you can see with some of these. But ultimately, a CO is not issued, and the building is not able to be occupied until everything theoretically is built to code.
Not supposed to be occupied.
Okay, so Mr. Romeo has indicated responsibility going forward, but we're deciding on what's happened up till now, right?
Okay, are we done? Are you ready? Okay, I'll make a motion to oppose the citation fine the amount of $2,000.
Second.
Harmon, Gonzalez, roll call.
Beerbone,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon.
Yes.
Holman,
Yes,
Mukanovic.
Madam Clerk?
Agenda item 2025-29 is for Public Works. This is an appeal to citation for case number 2025-3877, citation number 2025-6068, in the amount of $1,000 for the property located at 5402 Bakers Spring Street. The owner is Three Bros LLC, and the respondent is Mr. Ron Romeo, and Officer Journey Nixon will present the case.
This case was the result of a contractor found working while a stop work order was in place issued by Public Works. The following violations were observed. There was a contractor on site doing tile work, there was track out on the asphalt, and there was grade work. On May 2nd, a stop work order was placed on this job site due to multiple violations with the city of Bowling Green and other properties owned by this individual. And then I have comments from the city geologist, Nick Lawhon, who was on site at the other properties that were out of violation that triggered these stop work orders. At 16:45 on Thursday, May 1st, Public Works staff, including Nick Lawhon, geologist, Chad Doty, assistant city engineer, and Andy Souza, director, arrived at Mr. Wynn's properties on Stonehenge Avenue and quickly noted several code violations. Raw sewage discharge from the lift station at 1960 Stonehenge, and actively overflowing sewer cleanout at 1956 Stonehenge, unpermitted site work, trenching for utility lines on an expired 811 permit, which resulted in a hazardous open trench beside a walkway and several multiple apartment utility connections. NCS code compliance staff, Brad Shagorotsky, manager, had engaged a contractor to install temporary holding tanks for sewage. Mr. Wynn's history of repetitive violations of construction standards as a contractor is what brought us to the stop work order on behalf of the seriousness of the safety and health hazards for Stonehenge property. The stop work orders were conditioned such that the violations at 1956 and 1960 Stonehenge must be updated before they can be lifted. Code officials informed Mr. Wynn on site that day that the stop work orders would be issued for all permits the following day. And so May 2nd, city staff contacted Mr. Wynn via text message and email to inform him of the stop work orders placed on each site. The condition of the location on Baker Spring Street was also documented by photographs when the stop work orders were posted. And then here's an email. I sent Ty an updated list of all permits that he had that were active with the city of Bowling Green as far as building commercial or residential. All these permits had stop work orders placed. I went to each site and I posted stop work orders on site, as well as documented these and texted the property owner as well. On May 2nd, the picture that was taken on site, I did notice that he had a stockpile of dirt on the right side of his building and there was no track out present on the asphalt. These are things that we document to ensure that, if a stop work is in place, that we can make sure that no one does any grade work or any work that wasn't approved on a stop work issue. And so I had reached out to Ty via cell phone and just told him all the rules under a stop work order. And those rules included, you could go there and make the site safe, so if there's any open trenching, you can make those safe. You could remove all trash, and you could update any BMP measures. So if silt fence was needed, or straw wattle, if something was like leaving the site, as long as you were not operating heavy equipment load, or having people inside the building doing work, that was okay. Public safety was our main concern, for sure. On May 8th, I received 2 phone calls. One phone call was from Jared Petit with Buildings Division. He said that there was a gentleman who was doing tile work inside the building. On the very far left photo, you can see his truck is backed up. There are 2 guys going in and out. They're in there with equipment, and that was documented. At the same time, Dara Price took a picture as well and documented that there is new track out on the asphalt and the dirt pile is gone. And I, once again, had mentioned that no track out, and to reduce any confusion, do not bring equipment on site. You can remove your equipment to take it to wherever you need to, just to, protect your equipment from others, but no track out, and of course, grade work was done. On May 9th, I emailed Ty the report of the inspection and findings. So here's the email. So a citation was issued and mailed to the PVA listed property owner by certified mail and emailed. The compliance inspection date was listed on the citation for 5/16, which had since been postponed due to the appeal. And then our office emailed the property owner a copy of the citation, but we have not had contact with him since that day. And then as of 5/27, this case has been open for 19 days. I did an inspection today. There has not been any more construction work or dirt work that I can tell.
Yeah, this basically almost the same thing as the first property. I was told, again, there was only trash. That's the only thing I was told. And we took care of the trash. I sent my guys to take care of the trash. I wasn't told about anyone working inside. And again, I guess he's not telling me the truth. So yeah.
Thank you.
I will make a motion to uphold the citation and fine in the amount of $1,000.
Second.
Dearborn, Gonzalez, roll call.
Dearborn.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Harmon.
Yes.
Holman.
Yes.
Mukanovich.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Romeo, before you leave, if you could provide contact information to Ms. Boos. I'm not sure if the information we have is for Ty, but if we could have your information so she can contact you about some of these projects for the future, that would be appreciated. Hey, Mr. Romeo, before you leave, There's two cases, not related to Mr. Nguyen. The last case after that is a request for per-day fine on the 5402 Baker Spring Street property. It is not an appealable action tonight. It is simply presenting the case to the board and letting the board decide whether or not staff can issue a per-day fine citation. Once the per-day fine citation is issued, if they authorize that, then that is what can be appealed by you or Mr. Nguyen or whatever. I just didn't know if you wanted to stay and catch up on those slides as well and see what else is.
I'm being honest with you. I wasn't
Yeah.
told the truth, even though he's a friend. I mean, I was just trying to get the opportunity, but.
Sure.
You know,
Well, I just want to let you know there's more pictures coming if you want to stay for them.
for the number.
All right, we don't have any old business, so we will now move to the new business part of our agenda. Madam Clerk?
Agenda item 2025-30 is for code compliance. This is an authorization request for a per-day fine citation. Case number is 2023-4185 for the property located at 410 East 6th Avenue. The owner is Motor Cars of Bowling Green LLC, and Officer Sonia Duderick will present the case.
This case was a result of proactive inspection on 7/27/2023. During initial inspection, the following violation was observed. Unmaintained roof that's missing or in disrepair. Notice of violation was sent to PVA listed owner on that date with a compliance inspection date of 8/28/2023. The property was cited 3 times, 12/6/2023, 5/3/2024, and 5/14/2024. This case, there's first, second, and third citations. This case was presented to the board at the August 2024 hearing to request authorization to issue a per-day fine citation. On 8/29, a per-day fine warning letter was mailed to PVA listed owner and an address. Staff has contacted the property owner on multiple occasions since that time. He initially said he was going to apply for demolition permit, but later decided to repair the property and have utilities restored instead. He has not been issued a permit or started work on the property in the agreed time frame because of the past due fines that have not been paid. On 12/16/2024, the property remained in violation. A per-day fine citation was issued. A copy of citation was sent to the property owner by certified and first-class mail, as well as posted on the property with the violation that were listed on citation: unmaintained roof, hazardous structure or premise, unfit for human habitation, broken, boarded, missing windows, failure of duty to maintain a private property, accumulation of construction, demolition, landscape debris, exterior storage of indoor furniture. Here's the per-day fine citation where we have a broken window. There's the roof, part of the roof. As of on 5/20/2025, staff observed the rear side of the property with significant damage, likely due to a recent storm. The property owner was contacted, who stated he has not been monitoring the property and was not aware of the damage, but he would reach out to his insurance company. As of today, the case has been open for 670 days, and remains in violation. No permits have been approved, and fines at last 5 years of property tax remained unpaid. Here's pictures of today with more damage from the recent storm, or the awnings falling off, fascia soffit still not repaired. The backside of the property, the whole backside is falling off.
Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion to implement a per-day fine in the amount of $100 to run for a period of 60 days or until in compliance.
Second. Harmon, Dearborn. Roll call.
Dearborn.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Harmon.
Yes.
Holman.
Yes.
Mukanovich.
Yes.
Madam Clerk.
Agenda item 2025-31 is for code compliance. This is an authorization request for a per-day fine citation for case number 2023-4184 for 412 East 6th Avenue. Owner is Motor Cars of Bowling Green LLC, and Officer Sonia Duderick will present the case.
This property is next door to the previous one. It was a result of proactive inspection of 7/27/2023. During the initial inspection, the following violations were observed: accumulation of construction, demolition, and landscape debris, and roof in disrepair. Notice of violation was sent to PVA listed owner with the date of a compliance of 8/28/2023. This property was cited 3 times: 12/6/2023, 5/3/2024, and 5/14/2024. This case was presented to the board in August 2024 meeting to request authorization to issue a per-day fine citation. On 8/29/2024, a per-day fine warning letter was mailed to PVA listed owner and an address. City staff contacted the property owner on multiple occasions. Here's the first citation. You get one. Second citation, and a third citation. We contacted property owner on multiple occasions since that time. He initially applied for demolition permit, but later decided to repair property and have utilities restored. He has not received a permit or started to work on the property and agreed to time frame because of the past due fines that have not been paid. On 12/16/2024, the property was inspected, remained in violation. A per-day fine citation was issued and posted on the property, as well as sent to PVA listed owner and address by certified and first-class mail. The violation listed on the per-day fine citations were hazardous structure, unfit for human habitation, vacant structure or land, unmaintained protective treatment, siding, unmaintained exterior walls, failure of duty of maintenance of private property, accumulation of construction, demolition, and landscape debris, and dilapidated structure. As of 5/27, the case has been open for 670 days and remains in violation. No permits have been approved, and fines the last 5 years of property tax remained unpaid. There's pictures from today where it's boarded up. Now, these are pictures from first per-day fine, right? Yeah. Okay. Where it's missing siding, accessory structure. Now, the pictures from today. The siding's still missing on the side. The fascia soffit. Boarded side door. Open garage. I did contact the property owner, and he stated he's going to send someone to board up the garage so it's not unsecured.
Motion to implement a per-day fine in the amount of $100 to run for a period of 60 days or until compliance.
Second.
Panovich, Gonzalez. call.
Peerbone,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Holman,
Yes.
Mukanovich.
Yes.
All right, Madam Clerk.
Agenda item 2025-32 is for Public Works. This is an authorization request for a per-day fine citation. Case number 2025-0931 for the property located at 5402 Baker Spring Street. Owner is Three Brothers LLC, and Officer Dara Price will present the case.
This case is a result of a developer's complaints and has been the result of multiple failed inspections for erosion prevention and sediment control violations for construction per the City of Bowling Green standard construction practices. During the initial inspection, the following violations were observed. Improper construction entrance and improper parking area for employees to prevent mud track out on the roadway. The roadway has mud that needed to be cleared due to motorist safety hazards. Best management practices, methods used to prevent or reduce the discharge of pollutants, especially sediment from construction sites, needs to be installed for silt runoff prevention. Examples of this would be rock checks, silt fence, straw wattles, sandbags, etc. There is silt running directly into the stormwater drain, which either must be protected or the drains will need to be cleaned out. There are piles of construction debris and trash that need to be cleared, as well as a containment system installed for the job site. Piles of nails, saw blades, and boards with nails sticking out were randomly scattered around the job site and made the site dangerous to navigate for inspections. The final grade did not match the approved plan set for this area for stormwater drainage. This is essential for this area specifically due to major flooding concerns. There was illicitly discharged drywall, putty, and grout washout on the ground along with other unidentified miscellaneous material. There is to be a designated area intended for washout on job sites. There were waist-deep open trenches posing a safety hazard without proper safety measures around them. So this was the first day that I went out on the developer's complaint for the inspection on 10/15, just as the site broke ground. On 7/19/24, a commercial building permit was issued for the property to build new 8-plex apartments. On 8/14/24, the property was inspected due to complaints, and the property was found in violation of proper EPSC requirements. The property owner, Mr. Nguyen, was contacted by phone and notified of the items in violation. These violations were mainly blocking the roadway, mud in the roadway, and no BMPs installed. He said he would address the issues immediately. On 9/5/24, Contractors Licensing Board Citation Officer Heather Causey issued a stop work order at the property due to the general contractor's license being suspended. On 9/30/24, Contractor Dylan Clark was listed individually as the licensed EPSC contractor for this site, and the stop work order was lifted. On 10/15/24, the property was inspected and remained in violation. Mr. Nguyen was emailed pictures instructing him to clean up the job site. On 12/5/24, the property was inspected and remained in violation. Mr. Nguyen was contacted by phone regarding the ongoing violations. 12/18/24, City Building Inspector Jared Petit emailed our office to inform us that contractor Dylan Clark called the City Building Division office and requested to be taken off of every single permit Mr. Nguyen was associated with. On 12/17/24, the Public Works Stormwater Division made special arrangements to provide a one-on-one 3.5-hour EPSC class in order for Mr. Nguyen to be the EPSC contractor for his own sites. On 12/31/25, the property was inspected and remained in violation. Mr. Nguyen was emailed photos of the site and instructed to clean up the trash, clean mud from the roadway, and install a proper construction entrance. That's the photos that you see here. On 1/2/25, the property was inspected and remained in violation. Mr. Nguyen was sent an email about the expectations of the progression of this job site in great detail. On 1/14/25, Mr. Nguyen asked to meet on site for an explanation of violations. Public Works staff arrived on site at the agreed upon time, and Mr. Nguyen was not present. He was contacted by phone and asked if he was still coming, and he asked to reschedule for the following day. On 115, Public Works staff met on site with Mr. Nguyen to give an explanation of how to remediate all of his violations. On 116, Mr. Nguyen called to request another inspection, stating he had made progress. The property was inspected, and it was noted he installed barrier tape for the trenching and cleaned up some of the trash. On 121-25, the property was inspected and remained in violation. A notice of violation was issued and sent by first class and certified mail to the PVA listed owner and address, posted on the property, and also sent by email. The certified mail was returned undeliverable. The compliance inspection date listed on the notice was 1/31/25. On 1/31/25, the property was inspected and remained in violation. Mr. Nguyen was contacted by phone about the expectations for the progression of his job site in great detail. He sent someone to the job site to clean up the trash. He sent a video later that day with trash in a dumpster. On 2/3/25, the property was inspected and remained in violation. A citation was issued and posted on the property, as well as sent by first class and certified mail to the PVA listed owner and address and emailed. The compliance inspection date listed on the citation was 2/14/25. Try to catch up with the photos here. But as you can see, just trying to go through these photos as I go, there's tons of mud on the roadway. There's trash all over the job site. There's no stabilization, no organization whatsoever. Quite a bit of debris. Definitely no proper construction entrance. And then you can tell in the back that it was not graded properly, and we have ponding back there. Let's see. On 2/14, Public Works staff discovered Mr. Nguyen's contractor hit a water main. Staff contacted BGMU to report the damage. The person operating the equipment ran inside the building, would not come out to speak with city staff. Public Works staff contacted Mr. Nguyen by phone, and he seemed unconcerned and asked for more time to clean up his site. Later that morning, Mr. Nguyen sent a video and text message showing active work on the list of items for compliance. So he was given until 2/18 for the next inspection. On 2/18/25, the property was inspected and remained in violation. This was how we had to access the front of the property, because there was so many trenches all over the area. The property owner was emailed photos showing the same issues from prior failed inspections. On 2/18/25, Mr. Nguyen called City Engineer Chad Doty to complain about the failed inspections and was very upset. There were multiple attempts to contact Mr. Nguyen after this. However, no contact was made until 3/10/25. On 3/10/25, staff contacted Mr. Nguyen to request an on-site meeting in hopes of helping him understand expectations for progress. He did not answer, but texted back and said that he could meet on 3/13/25 at 8:30 a.m. On 3/13/25, Public Works staff met on site with the property owner regarding the violations. On 3/5/25, the property was inspected and minor progress was noted. So this was the on-site meeting with the assistant engineer, Chad Doty, myself, and Journey Nixon. On 4/2/25, the property was inspected and Mr. Nguyen was texted photos of the property, urging him to clean up the insulation blowing around his job site. He responded saying he would get it tomorrow. On 4/8/25, the property was inspected and remained in violation based on prior claims from the property owner of being unable to work on site due to rain. City staff texted to mention it was a sunny day with good weather predicted for a few days. On 4/14/25, the property owner was texted letting him know city staff would be allowing extra time for compliance due to recent rain. On 4/21/25, the property was inspected and remained in violation. Mr. Nguyen was emailed about expectations for the progression of the job site in great detail, including the formal construction checklist. On 4/22/25, the property was inspected and remained in violation. A citation was issued and posted on the property, as well as sent by first-class certified mail and email to the PVA listed owner and address. The compliance inspection date listed on the citation was 4/29/25. On 4/23/25, a text was seen by the property owner reminding him of the 4/29/25 inspection date, and he responded with yes. On 4/29/25, the property was inspected and remained in violation. An email was sent to the property owner with expectations for the progression of the job site in great detail, along with a formal construction checklist. On 4/30/25, the property was inspected and remained in violation. A citation was issued and posted on the property, as well as sent by first-class and certified mail and emailed to the PVA listed owner and address. The compliance inspection date listed was 5/8/25. On 5/2/25, another stop work order was issued to this property by city geologist Nick Lahan to the Public Works and the Public Works staff due to multiple job sites having environmental, health, and construction violations. On 5/8/25, the property was inspected and remained in violation. At this point, the City Code Compliance Division advised the case should go before the board for consideration of a per-day fine citation. As of 5/27/25, the property has been in violation for 286 days and remains in violation.
Make a motion to implement a per-day fine in the amount of $100 to run for a period of 60 days or until in compliance.
Second.
Mukanovich and Coleman. Roll call.
Beerbone.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Harmon.
Yes.
Holman.
Yes.
Mukanovich.
Yes.
Our next meeting is June 24th. If no other comment.
So moved.
Harmon, Dearbone, roll call.
Beerbone.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Harmon.
Yes.
Holman.
Yes.
Mukanovich.
Yes.
We are adjourned.